It's time for our popular segment on gold. Now, based on all of those emails you sent in, we've asked Naveen Mathur, the head of commodities at Angel Broking, to come back on the show and answer some of those questions. Naveen, thank you for joining us. Our first question comes in from Krishnaswamy, who writes in from Chennai. He wants to know if gold prices will be impacted by the American elections that are happening in the beginning of next month. If yes, what sort of change do you foresee in the price of gold?
The gold or the financial markets definitely will have a great impact on the outcome of the US elections, the US economy being the largest in the world. So anything which happens there, which is critical to the economy, which is critical to the nation, would definitely have a greater impact on the financial markets, not leaving gold behind. Now, there are two possibilities. One is that the government continues, or the Republicans come and take over the White House. The problem of the fiscal cliff, starting off this year in 2013 January, which may impact the $600 billion worth of the spending cuts and tax rises, will create sentiments which may not be too great for the markets, which is not on a recovery trajectory largely. So the fiscal cliff issue would be a major factor to watch out for. And if the Republicans come in, they may cut spendings, they may increase taxes, and therefore the bearish sentiment may continue in the market after the elections. But at the same time, if the Liberal Party or the Democrats continue to serve the second term in the White House, it may give some kind of a relief which may be positive for the sentiment. I think overall looks like that the gold may trade upside in terms of the prices in dollar terms. It's trading right now at around $1720 or so. We feel that the markets would trade at around $1750 to $1760 in months to come. In Indian markets, we expect the prices to trade between 30,500 to 31,500 levels. Rupee versus the dollar exchange rate needs to be looked out, and that is one of the possible, that's one of a very strong factor one needs to watch out before investing in gold in India.
Our next question comes in from Anwar. He wants to know what precautions he can take when buying either jewelry, coins or gold biscuits from a jeweler to ensure that he gets purity. What certificates should he be asking for? Naveen, what can he make sure he has?
If you're buying jewelry from a jeweler or a retailer, you should definitely see the certificate of authenticity with respect to the purity of gold. Now, gold comes into various carats. It is 18 karat gold, 22 carats gold, 24 carats gold, depending on the purity of gold. And one should definitely look out and see the certificate of authentication for this particular buying, if they are buying in bars and coins from a jeweler. I would also exercise a caution here that if I'm buying gold from a retailer or jeweler, I will buy gold from a very leading or kind of a big shop or jeweler or a retailer, because in that particular way I can ensure that whatever I'm getting is definitely a certified hallmark quality of gold. Now, talking about what other factors one needs to exercise caution at, one also need to exercise caution with respect to the making charges, the service tax, the VAT, lot many things which are embedded into the cost of gold. So making charges vary from a jeweler to jeweler, and therefore if you are buying a jewelry from a leading or a big jeweler, you may pay higher making charges. So all these things one needs to definitely ensure before buying physical gold from a retailer or a jeweler in Indian markets.
Alright, so keep that checklist handy when you're going to buy jewelry. One more question from Gaurav. Gaurav wants to know if buying hallmarked gold jewelry from Dubai, bringing it to India and selling it in India is profitable. He plans to start a venture and make some profit through this. Naveen, you said in the last time you were on the show that it does make sense because there is a price difference between the two. But can that be a business venture? Would you advise that?
Yes, your question is pretty valid. Means the prices of gold in India are much higher than the other markets like Dubai because of the import duty of 4% levied on the gold imports here in India. So there always been an arbitrage opportunity of buying gold at a lower price and selling in India. But at the same time, one also need to understand that in Indian scenario, the government of India does not allow gold for the business purposes to do like arbitrage activities. Means you are allowed to buy gold to certain certain extent and import it in India. But if you want to make it as a business proposition, then I would definitely not recommend it. It is not the right perspective to exploit the opportunities of lower prices in one place and selling it on the higher prices in India.
Ravi Menon has written in. He wants to know where and how he can buy e-gold that you were mentioning on the show the last time. He says he wants to buy e-gold and he also wants to get possession physically of the gold finally when he finishes that investment. So how would you recommend he goes about buying e-gold and what documentation will he need?
Definitely, it's a very good proposition to buy gold through e-gold contract on the NSCL. A beautiful contract for a person who wants to buy gold in a staggered way. You need to open an account, or if you have an account with a broking firm, you don't need to go in further. You just need to open an account in case you don't have with a broking firm. Get yourself impaneled or fill up the documents for the KYC, open the demat account and buy the gold in 1 gram denomination or multiples of 1 gram denomination for this e-gold contract. Now you can take the delivery also after 8 grams if you have accumulated in your demat account. It is multiples of 8 gram and 10 grams. So if you have 8 grams in your demat account, you can convert them, remat it, convert them into the physical form by paying 1% VAT and certain charges, which is brokerage and commission, and convert that in physical form. You can buy gold therefore in physical form from the e-gold contract of the NSCL.
Alright, we have time for one quick question from CNR Vas, who writes in. He wants to buy gold for a wedding that will happen next year. He says he has the funds right now, but he wants to know if he should buy the gold now or should he invest the money and buy the gold at the time of the wedding. Naveen, what would you recommend he does?
I think if you want to buy gold, it's the right time to buy gold. It's trading at around 31,100 levels. We have seen prices touching at around 32,500, 32,600 level last couple of months back. So I think the gold is stabilizing at these levels of 30,500 to 31,000. But at the same time, I would not recommend to buy it lump sum at these particular prices. You may start buying gold right now, but do it in a SIP way or a staggered way, as I said. Take the benefit of the averaging of the gold prices, but I don't see much on the downside for gold from these levels. 30,500 or so would be the lower level where the gold can touch. So I think overall this is the right time to buy, but don't buy it in lump sum, buy it in a staggered way, because your need for this function is next year. So I think don't commit yourself in total right now. Do it through SIP way.
So if you have any more questions about investing in gold, remember you can write to us. There's an email ID at the bottom of your screen. Naveen, thank you so much for joining us on the show and answering all of those questions.